name is Katie. Welcome to Classically Black Podcast,
where we talk all things classical music and being black in the profession,
with trap beats playing in the background. Hey, sis.
All right.
Hey,
sister. How you doing this week? All right.
It has been a trying week. Well, you know what? God is yet able, and He's gonna do it. I don't know what He finna do, but He finna do it.
All right.
And we gonna pull Him right on through this raggedy year.
Wow.
I'm just playing. I'm trying to be grateful, but yeah, it was trying. We couldn't get through. My kids cheered me up. Let's talk what this girl said, right? So I did sectionals in one of the orchestras I teach, and I was like, okay. So she was the only viola there. I was like, oh well, sweetheart, you stuck with me. She's like, okay, because she's like the cutest. She has pigtails and braids. I live right. So I was like, okay, so we playing Takatina. I'm like, how is this going? Like, how are you doing? Because I know Takatina is difficult. And she was like, it's fine. You know, I'm not really used to low two. So that's because it's in D minors. So that's hard. You know what? My favorite part is like the beginning because we get to rest. It's 20 something measures of rest at the beginning. And I was like, I've never felt so connected to a child. Right. So that cheered me up. Like, kids are always cute and they always... Okay, how do I rephrase it? I'm just kidding. I think kids are always cute. I think they mean well. That's my thing. Like, I think, Dalanie, if you roll your eyes any harder, they're going to pop out your head. I don't know. Okay. How was your week, sis?
Girl, I don't remember anything before yesterday, because yesterday had me deep in my feelings.
Girl, I stay in my feelings. I don't know what it feels like to not be in them.
Right, but because I had a headache before I went to rehearsal. I had a headache before that because I had been working all day long.
I forgot. Okay, working girl.
I had been working all day long, and then now I didn't have time to eat. Now I got one of them hunger headaches. And what else are we playing but Mahler 6?
Come on, Hammer.
Right. And we playing the fourth movement. Now we trudging through. This is like our first time reading the fourth movement, so we just trudging through that.
You know, don't nobody read that stuff before we get there. So it's even
like it's just God.
Worse than a first grade finance class.
So then so of course my head pounded even more by the end of that. Now I got a coaching for my chamber group.
Yo.
But you know, that's fine. I had a lesson today and actually went really well, so.
Oh, I'm so excited for your recital. About to be out here.
Well, thanks for listening to the Black Podcast. It's fine. Record time. Finished this week.
Anyway, Lenny got a recital this semester, y'all. It's gonna be everything.
Right, just to set people's standards low. So
anyway, you're right. Let's move on. You're right. No, you're so right. You got news this week, sis?
Sure do. My first piece of news this week is that Katie will be giving a recital next semester. I'll keep everyone updated.
Please respect my privacy at this time. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, good news. Well, have some good news and some irritating news. But this is a sort of bittersweet. Cleveland Orchestra is hiring.
You're so trifling.
As you may have heard, the Cleveland Orchestra has a couple vacancies. Turns out some people thought that they could just do whatever because they were in the Cleveland Orchestra. Just because you concertmaster don't mean nothing. Just because you principal trombone don't mean nothing.
Exactly.
At Preucil at La Rosa. So just in case y'all, I mean, a lot of people have heard about William Preucil.
See, this is like I think what made this is like they actually fired him for real this time. Like, but I've been heard about this. I'm like, wow, y'all really out here touching girls,
right? So concertmaster of Cleveland Orchestra, William Preucil, and principal trombonist Massimo La Rosa, were fired for allegations of sexual misconduct recently. So, all my brothers and sisters out there, my violinists and trombonists, get your excerpts out. Auditions will be coming up.
Can you imagine if we had a black queen sitting concert mistress?
Oh my God.
When I tell you, I think all my edges will just immediately disintegrate.
My God. Oh my God.
But I think this is so powerful. I think the Me Too movement has been having a lot of people shook in this country, as it should be, because, you know, women have been scrutinized for so long. And I think, like a lot of industries, classical music is difficult because if you criticize something, if you say something, you remember that thing that went around, that pianist from Eastman? His piano professor was sexually assaulting him during his lessons, he said something, now you're blacklisted all around the classical music community. And it's like someone like William Preucil saying that you're lying about this, you're difficult to work with, all that stuff. You never getting hired. He's dragging your name through the dirt, and all because you're like one of the best violinists like in America, if not the world. It just like, it's so disheartening, and it's good. You should have been gone a long time ago.
Right. I was just about to say that. Yeah, like imagine what kind of courage that takes for somebody to come forward about something like this, where you know there's a possibility that they gonna have your name out here, and now people seeing your name putting it in the reject pile just because of something they heard about you. Like, but listen, Cleveland Orchestra got them right together.
Right.
You know, had an investigation and was like, nah, that's not what we doing. And kicked them right on out, as they should.
Because it's like you're taking advantage of people who, in a lot of cases, like it's a power struggle, and a lot of people, like, classical music is already difficult, and it's like girls are out here trying to make it. They're trying to, you know, play the best they can, and in a lot of cases they think they're playing well, but all you really want to do is like take advantage of them, and it's just like, it's just so messed up.
Right.
So I hope that in this classical music world we continue to move forward, like calling out the people who are doing these things to us, and really bringing it to the forefront so we can stop. Like,
right.
And it's not, to be fair, it's not just girls, it happens to guys too, but just really making sure that we're keeping it just, because it's already hard, it's already difficult. Why contribute to it?
Right. Well, on a more positive note, where we're on the subject of orchestras, the Toronto Symphony Orchestra is out here. So proud of them. They have a $2.3 million surplus.
Shout out to the Six.
All right.
What did they Drake donated that? Probably did. That's some soft stuff Drake would do.
Oh, all right.
What? Okay, on his next album, Toronto Symphony, in the background.
Right. Listen.
Right. And his studio artist being like, man, you ain't never hear no stuff like this before. I got like 40 violins on the tray.
Right. Sampling Mozart.
I got some beats we ain't never heard before. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Apparently they had a kind of rough year. But they got a new CEO, and they said goodbye to their music director. But wow, they got this budget surplus of $2.3 million. I'm trying to think in terms of an orchestra, what that does, because I don't know. I'm trying to think, like, the only orchestra that I've been involved with, like, pretty deeply is like the LA Phil, and they got boku money. Mm-hmm. And like touring and stuff. Like, I know that junk adds up, but I'm curious to see like what this does for them.
Because that could be a couple of contracts. I mean, I don't know. That junk costs money, so I ain't gonna start to talk out my neck. But I imagine that it's something, you know,
right?
Something great,
right? Yeah, they just got a new music director that's coming in 2020. And apparently they have been like, you know, in trouble for a couple years. So this surplus is like really big for them. Good. Right. So excited to see what they're gonna be out here doing. Y'all got any vacancies? Let me know.
All right, let me know.
Right, we infiltrating.
Right.
Right. So they're also commissioning or I don't know if they're commissioning or premiering. It just says that it sounds like they're premiering because it says they're new works by Canadian composers. Yeah, they're commissioned or co-commissioned in honor of the country's 150th anniversary. So they're lit up there in Toronto.
Good for Toronto and Canada.
Right. Somebody got to be
doing so much better than us. This is not the type of podcast. Okay, I'm excited for this week's intermission. So I've been into like zodiac signs a lot lately. I don't know why. I've been going in and out. I'm on the fence about how true they are, but they're fun sometimes. So I'm just like, I just go over, see what it's talking about. I don't check my horoscope because horoscope not gonna say nothing about intonation. So they really ain't got no business over there. But so I thought it would be really fun to we were gonna read a little bit about our horoscopes and then see which signs romantically we are most compatible with. And then we're going to find composers of the signs based on compatibility. And if you have to pick a piece that the composer wrote and use that as a basis to say whether you agree or disagree with the compatibility. And then we also have composers that we are not supposed to be compatible with. And then if that one piece that we picked for that composer were to represent the composer as a person, do we agree or disagree with that? What's the opposite of compatibility? Discompatibility? That's not a word, but you know what I'm saying. So I'm gonna say how
incompatible.
Incompatibility. There we go. It's late, y'all. Okay. So let's say it again because I feel like that was really long. So we're gonna tell you a little bit of our signs, and then we found composers that we are compatible with and incompatible with. And based on one piece that we picked about that composer, if that one piece represented the composer, we're supposed to say whether we believe we are compatible, whether we agree or disagree with the compatibility. So I'm going to start just so it's like a little clear. So I'm a Leo. My birthday is July 27th.
Nice. And her new strings,
anyway,
bow hair money, new
focus.
viola peg.
My Cash App's like, no. I hate that joint. My Cash App is. No one cares about your Cash App.
I'm going to put Katie's Venmo in the bio.
Okay. Let's stay focused.
You're not going to be saying that when you got trillions and trillions of dollars.
Okay. Let's bring it back. So I'm a Leo. I don't really think I'm a true Leo. I just don't. Can you stop? I have Leo-like qualities. Yes. And based on this website that we're using that we're going to link below, a lot of these things are true. So like my strengths, it says creativity. I'm not a creative person. I just don't think if I know how to phrase a phrase when I play something in Bach, that's not creative to me. That's like doing what I know how to do. That's not like, or like people know I come up with a lot of ideas.
That's creative. Not everybody can do that.
Okay, anyway. Passionate, generous, warm-hearted, cheerful, humorous. I'm hilarious. I don't care what nobody says. If my friends have to be like, you're not funny, I am the most funny person I know. Okay.
Oh, I guess we all know each other.
Wow. On the flip side of that, even though I said I'm the most funny person I know, weakness is arrogant. I'm not an arrogant person, but I am stubborn. I can be self-centered, right. But why shouldn't you be? I'm very lazy.
That's a lie.
I'm very lazy.
That's a lie. Katie is always up and at 'em early in the morning at the gym.
Right.
Practicing.
Because I pay beaucoup money to come here. Who am I going to be practicing? I don't know.
I'm just saying.
I don't count everyday practice as that's just something that you have to do. That's not like.
Well, some people don't do things. Some people are so lazy they don't do things they have to do.
But like, if you really let me, I could lay in bed all day doing nothing on Instagram. Like, I can be very lazy and inflexible because once I have a vision, it's like you either
tell me about
okay. It's like you either get right or get left.
Wow. Y'all hear this? Y'all see what I'm dealing with.
Dislikes. I hate being ignored. I hate facing difficult reality, and I hate not being treated like a queen. My phrase everybody knows, Dalanie, are you rolling her eyes? A jewel doesn't seek it, it saw it. And I literally live.
It sits right there in the shop under the glass.
And that is fine.
Collecting dust.
And that is fine. But a jewel.
It's fine. Okay.
Look.
We'll have this conversation off there.
Everyone knows, like, everyone rolls their eyes when I said a jewel doesn't seek it, it saw it. I post on my story at least, like, every quarterly. So, yeah. The reason why I say like I'm not a typical Leo is because I just don't like bossiness.
What?
Wow, I'm not bossy.
Girl, we'll be here all night.
Bossy?
You will be here all night.
I might have a vision, but I'm gonna be like, Dalanie.
Just move on.
Bossy?
Let us just.
You're not gonna drag me on air.
Let's just move on.
Let's pull over.
Let's move
bossy?
on. We'll be here all night.
I'm not bossy. I might have a vision. I might be like. What's a woman without vision?
Girl, that's not the same thing.
I'm just saying. What's a woman without vision? But you know what? Let's move on for the good of the order. Because me and Dalanie gonna stare here all night.
Just what I said. You see that? How I said it first.
Nah,
she didn't want to agree with it. And then now when she ready to go, it's like, we gonna be here all night. Let's move on. What?
Anyway, this is not what it's supposed to be about. Okay. So And it says, I'm most compatible with Aquarius and Gemini.
Oof.
And I'm least compatible with Taurus and Scorpio. Okay, so Delaney, you want to tell us a little bit about your sign?
Sure do. So I am a Libra. I think I'm I feel like a Libra is a very chill sign. But some of our strengths, quote unquote, are I'm cooperative, which I think is true.
No, you are.
Diplomatic, gracious, fair-minded. Social, I don't agree with. I'm not a social person.
I think you can be, but you can be social.
Yeah, I guess.
You don't get around people and start acting weird and breathing hard and foaming at the mouth.
Okay, what? All right, you take this to the extreme. You can be antisocial and not foam at the mouth. What? Jesus. All right. Weaknesses, indecisive. I don't really know that I'm like
I don't think
indecisive. Avoids confrontations. Everybody, there are people that like to be in confrontations. I don't like it just because people act all surprised when I pipe up. Because I avoid piping up because people look at me crazy. That's the only reason why. And I don't want to be fighting all the time, you know? But I'm not a person to let people walk all over me and let things slide in the name of avoiding confrontation. So that's a little, it says will carry a grudge. I don't know. Within reason, I'll carry a grudge. I'm not about to be out here because, they knocked my pencil off my desk.
Back in fourth grade.
Right, back in fourth grade. So now I'm like, nah. And then self-pity, which we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, that's not.
But because I like harmony, gentleness, sharing with others, and the outdoors, which...
Meanwhile, Delaney, let's pull over. Delaney lives in LA. So I go to LA back in June. I'm like, yo, this is my first time at LA. Blase. Let's go take a small little hike, little walk up the street to the Hollywood sign.
It's not up the street.
Delaney's eyes roll back in her head. She starts convulsing. I'm like, sis, it'll be a nice little hike. We could listen to music.
Hike?
It's a hike.
I do not like hiking. So why would I go?
Because it's gonna be hilarious. It's me and you.
It's not. I will be miserable.
It's all in the attitude, sis.
Well, I don't want to. See, bossy.
How is that bossy? Bossy have been like, well, we going.
You said that to me. You did. Okay, it's not about classical music no more. It's about us unpack. Okay, next episode we bring the therapist on air to work through our relationship issues. Because he was like, you'll be going. Anyway, Libra dislikes violence. That's true. Injustice. That's true. Loud mouths.
Why you pause this? My voice carries. It's not loud. Okay, resonant.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, so that's just a little bit about my sign. I'm supposed to be very compatible with Aries and Sagittarius, and I'm supposed to be incompatible with Cancers and Capricorn.
If you were incompatible with Leo, I would laugh.
Well, I don't need nobody to tell me that. I know that by my own.
All right, so now we looked up some composers, and we linked the site that just lists a bunch of well-known composers and their signs. So like I said before, I'm supposed to be the greatest overall compatibility is supposed to be with Aquarius and Gemini. So one of the composers that's a Gemini that I picked is Elgar. If I were to meet Elgar and all I knew about Elgar was his cello concerto, I'll be like, yes, we are so compatible. Teach me your ways. Let's go on a date. Buy me some drinks. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's get to know each other. Like, that cello concerto with Jacqueline Dupre. Yo, when I tell you, I've never been so excited about an E minor chord in my entire life until it's like that concerto is literally one of my top concertos. It's not even a viola concerto. Like, I love it so much. So Elgar, Gemini, I get it. Yes, I agree with that. We are compatible. An Aquarius, Mozart's an Aquarius. If all I knew about Mozart was his Hofner Symphony number 35,
except for that last movement,
we can.
That jump is so hard.
And Melissa wants you to play it in one bow. The
snake?
Oh wait, no, the last movement is lit. Be a papaya.
That joke is so hard. So hard.
No, actually, that whole thing slaps. The whole work. Yes, compatible. I would date if Mozart was Hofner. That symphony, I would date you. You know, let's have some fun. Let's chill. You know what I'm saying? Let's go out. Blaney's inappropriate. Yes. So for compatibility, Gemini.
I'm a child.
You are a child. We need video cameras in here. You are so annoying. Is that on your thing? Annoying? No. Must have been a typo. No. Compatibility with Aquarius, I agree. Okay, what's your compatibility? Do you agree, disagree?
I am most compatible with Sagittarius, which in real life, that's a whole other story. But I picked Beethoven as a Sagittarius, which there's a ton of, by Beethoven that I really, really love, but I'm going to pick the third movement of the Ninth Symphony, that junk. Oh my God, I feel like I'm like floating when I listen to that.
Okay, so, him got you head over heels.
Right. Right.
Buddha.
All right. And meanwhile, the fourth movement come along, which I do like the fourth movement.
I'm about to say, what? You good over there?
No.
Okay.
But it's like, I don't know. I don't speak German, but it's it's about people's fighting or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like what I know about Beethoven as a person, no, we wouldn't be compatible because
he loud and yelling and running around and angry.
Right. Angry at the world. Like, I didn't do nothing to you.
Why would you want to date him?
Right. Nah.
But if all you knew about him was his Ninth Symphony third movement, you would date him.
Mm-hmm. And then my second one, I'm supposed to be compatible with Aries, which Bach is an Aries. And now I'm remembering, this is another thing just like Beethoven. So if all I knew about Bach was the prelude to the second suite, that's my favorite movement of a Bach suite ever. I absolutely love it. Shout out to Misha Maisky. It's my favorite recording. But yeah, obviously, I would date Bach. But just thinking about that now, if I knew what I knew about Bach and how he be getting around.
Right. Meanwhile, your uterus don't have a break.
Right. Exactly. I'm on his 17th kid.
Right.
Nah.
All your kids Irish twins.
So I don't know. He would have to get a vasectomy before we start.
Oh, Father, help us. Okay.
Before we get to knock the boots. But
wow. Didn't see that one coming. There's a lot happening. Okay, let's move on. Okay.
Who are you least compatible with?
Okay, so I'm supposed to be least compatible with Taurus and Scorpio. So for Taurus, I'm gonna refute because of some of the composers that were listed there. First of all, Monteverdi, I stan. We'll talk about him later in this episode because I just like him. He's, he don't do too much. He did a lot for classical music at the time. Just whatever. Tchaikovsky's a Taurus. How could you not? Everyone knows how I feel about Tchaikovsky. But the main reason is Brahms. Brahms is a Taurus. I love Brahms. And if all I knew about Brahms was his E-flat viola sonata, how could we not be compatible? It's inviting, like the way it opens up.
Oh yeah, you playing that on your recital, aren't you?
I'm talking about my recital. Please respect my privacy.
Can't wait for the live stream.
Anyway, it's so inviting. It's dynamic. The second movement is dynamic. I feel like if all I knew about Brahms was the E-flat viola sonata, there's no reason. It's flashy at the end. I like flashy things. Taurus also like flashy things. So it's like, I like flashy things. I don't like expensive things. Those aren't the same.
Okay.
I'm flashy, but I don't like.
That's just...
Nah, because you over here mouth agape. Like, I like flashy. I'm flashy. I could be flashy.
Okay.
But expensive thing, you will see me walking around in class in Fendi, Prada. For what? Who doing that? But also, you're not gonna catch me in you ain't gonna catch me in no Payless shoes. I got Vans, I got Adidas, Jordans. But you know what I'm saying? I could be, I'm flashy without being. Anyway, I don't got, listen.
Right. I'm saying. Y'all see this? Stubborn. Meanwhile, my favorite pair of shoes from Payless. Them rainbow shoes.
Okay, but first of all, I saw them shoes. I'm like, those are so you.
They are.
It doesn't have to do with where they from. I'm just saying, there's nothing wrong with Payless shoes. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that I have expensive things, but I don't have expensive taste. If that makes sense.
Doesn't, but
okay.
I can see why you would like Brahms. I'm just thinking about some of his melodies. Brahms seems like he'll keep you warm at night.
Exactly.
That beard.
Right, you know, I like a good beard game. You know what? Clean. Let me make sure y'all understand.
Right.
Clean.
Right.
Facial hair can do for you.
Right.
So that's
Shaped up.
I don't understand. Like, I feel like if I were a dude, I would live at the barbershop because I just the beard game helps a lot when it's just on point and it's all clean. It's just like, wow.
So you're not out here looking like, I don't know what old dude name is from Harry Potter, because I ain't never seen that, but you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. Meanwhile, half of y'all walking around here looking like Mussorgsky. Wow. Have you seen Mussorgsky's picture?
Yes. Ain't no shave nowhere.
In December, January, or February. Okay, so for my second incompatibility, I would say that I agree with would be Copeland.
Ugh.
Wow, you good?
Yuck.
I'm just not a fan. His Appalachian hymn, I don't see. Here's the thing: it wouldn't be like a strong distaste because there's some dudes you look at and be like, ugh. But so it wouldn't be like a strong distaste if I saw a Scorpio like Copeland. It would be, it's just I just don't like Appalachian Spring.
Yeah, Spring.
Appalachian Hymn is a children's piece. Appalachian Spring, because it just doesn't do anything for me. You know,
I feel like Copeland the type he roll up to pick you up on a date on like a horse or something with a cowboy hat and lasso you up. Like, his stuff is just too much. He got Rodeo playing in the background. Like, Rodeo, I don't hate
Rodeo. See, that's the thing about it's
that clarinet concerto. When I played that junk this summer, I tell you I was fighting back vomit the whole time. It was so terrible. I was suffering through that. I could not wait for it to end.
You know who Copeland is? It's like when your mama go to the beauty shop and the lady next to her is her friend that they only talk to when they go to be at the beauty shop. It should be like, you know, I got somebody I want Dalanie to meet. Whatever, like, you know, my nephew, like, he doing well for himself. You know what? He in podiatry school. He in podiatry school and whatever. And when he comes pick you up, it's Copeland. I feel like that's Copeland. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. What about you, sis? What do you?
So I'm supposed to be least compatible with Capricorn, and Cancer. So Capricorn, I don't know. Brooke is a Capricorn, which I'm okay with him. I don't know a ton. Actually, no. I just played the Brooke octet. Oh yeah.
Oh, that John go.
Right.
I also played that.
I knew it was something. I knew it was something. I'm like a violin concerto, Scottish fantasy. There's something else by Brooke. That octet goes.
First of all, and it opens with a viola solo.
Right.
Da, 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 hey, da,
like,
da, da, da. Woo, child.
Right. And you know what? I was so pleasantly surprised when I opened that part because I was like, this is a string octet. I'm expecting nothing from this.
No. The bass is working.
Right. I was expecting nothing because they be string quintets where I ain't doing nothing but downbeats and drones. Meanwhile, he had me out here. I was like, thank you.
No, you working in that.
Exactly. Like, nah. So if all I knew about Brooke, that string octet, man, y'all don't know what y'all are talking about because me and Capricorn is tight.
Right.
We tight. Like, nah, y'all not finna have me and my boy Maxie. Me and my boy Max out here.
Right, you Maxie rolling up. Y'all with them all this boot up. All hugged up.
Right.
On Instagram.
Right. He knew how to turn the tune. Sure did. And especially the like, especially in light of like what kind of music was happening around the time that he made that, people drifting into the y'all don't want to be tonal no more, and he like, nah, we bringing it back to what it ought to be.
Exactly.
And making, you know, something that sounds lush and beautiful, and just, you know, he went off.
I came for his romance last week. Listen, to be clear, or whenever I came for that, I don't remember, but I like the Brooke romance. I'm just saying I ain't playing it again. Just to be clear.
Can your next teacher being like, so how about the Brooke romance?
Is there any piece you ever wanted to revisit? Like, not at all.
Me sending them an email. Katie secretly loves the Brooke romance. She just doesn't want to say it. You should just make her play it. But secondly, the next person I'm not supposed to be compatible with is Cancer. Which, so y'all heard, what I said about Mahler earlier when we opened the episode. However, that does not mean that I dislike Mahler, because I don't. You? I was just having, a bad day, and it was loud, so I wasn't feeling it at the time. But that, I live for a good bass section. It's nothing like it. It's nothing like it. And our bass section is 9 deep. For this, like,
thick,
right, thick with 17 C's. Okay,
come on, 17.
Thick, like we out here. So I don't agree with that at all, especially that resurrection. Okay, resurrecting our relationship and why we fell in love in the first place.
Other things, right?
Wow. Okay. Yeah, but so I'm gonna have to refute both of those, Capricorn and Cancer, because I haven't found like anything that I feel strongly about by Mahler except for the resurrection yet, but that's just because I don't listen to Mahler, and I don't
listen to that Fifth Symphony.
I heard Mahler 5, but it was in a concert. I don't like concerts, so I was sitting there like, yo, when is this over? Not because I didn't like it, but I just don't like sitting in one place for too long. But this is my first Mahler symphony that I have played. It's Mahler 6.
Ooh, so Mahler 5, bro.
But so I'm sure I will have more than enough time in my career to develop my love for Mahler, but I do not dislike him by any means, so I'm gonna have to say no on that one as well.
Okay, so let us know in the comments who you're compatible with. You can look it up based on our based on the website that we link. Even if you're not really into signs, it's just fun. So don't think too much of it. A lot of people do really believe in it. I'm 50-50 because some of the stuff like really be like nail on the head. But even just look into it. It's fun, and let us know who you're compatible with. If a composer were to be a piece, like, could you date them? Whatever. So, let us know, and we're moving on.
Right. Ooh, so this week we are going to be talking about our parents' reactions to studying music, specifically being people of color. They be out here talking about doctor, lawyer, scientist.
Exactly. Like there ain't nothing else.
Doctor,
lawyer. Right. World peace.
Right.
That's the least you could do.
Right.
So when did you decide that you wanted to major in music?
Girl, I still ain't decided. No, I'm just kidding.
You mad?
No, I'm just
kidding.
Don't
be annoying.
I guess the initial time was the summer before my freshman year of high school. So I was probably 12 or 13. Just because I'm a little younger than the like grade that I am in. So I think I was 12 or 13, and that's when I went to my first music camp. I went to Luzerne Music Centers, like somewhere in rural New York. Yeah, but that was when I was like, oh, y'all out here, like, it's really fun. I went there with the teacher that I studied with. He was like working there, and he was like, yo, you should go here. So that was like sort of my first introduction to playing like actual music and not like arrangements and not in group classes and actual having private lessons. And I was like, okay, we out here. I'm doing whatever. So that's when I decided that I was going to major in music. And then there have been a couple times since then where I'm like, okay, I really got to buckle down and get serious. Still wondering when I'm going to buckle down and get serious.
Anyway.
But yeah, what about you?
This kind of happened in tiers. So the first time I decided that I wanted to major in music, I was in 7th grade. And I was doing well in viola. I was principal viola of my little middle school orchestra. I was really into it. I would stay after school every day in the orchestra room. Meanwhile, now that I'm a teacher, I'll be like, y'all gotta go home. But I'll be after school every day or whatever. I just started taking viola lessons, so I was starting to improve, and I was like, yo, I want to be a music teacher. Like, I could do this. Like, my orchestra's gonna be good and whatever, blase. So that's when I initially decided. I was like 7th grade, so that means I was 13. Then fast forward to my sophomore year in college. When I entered college, I think I said this before, I entered as a music education major, but I was taking pre-dental courses because this like thing, which I'll get to later, where like you have to be something that's gonna make you a lot of money or whatever. So I was taking pre-dental courses. I settled on that. I was like, I could be a dentist. I always, when I meet people, the first thing I look at is their teeth. So I was like, I could do that. I like teeth. I think I would be good at that. So, but I went to the ASTA conference, which is the American Street Teachers Association conference. And I remember calling my mom while I was there. I got the opportunity to go because I wasn't supposed to go. And I called my mom and I was like, yo, there are people from around the country here doing this education thing. Like, I really want to do this. Like, I have to do this. I don't see myself doing anything else. And my mom was like, okay, then do that. So that's when I finally dropped the pre-dental courses at my undergrad. And by then I was deep in pre-dental courses. I already took chemistry. I was in organic chemistry at that point. So I was like really out here for no reason. And then the final tier was like when I finally got to Eastman, I was like, I really like teaching, but I'm given the space to perform now. I have a teacher that believes in me. I have a teacher that's pushing me to go that direction. I want to see how far I get. So now I'm like deep in it, like, this is what we doing. Like, I'm gonna be a violist. So it's been
too if I was talented.
So it's been like a progressive journey, but it started when I was in 7th grade. Long story.
All right.
Did you have any initial doubts?
No, I was, all skippy and hoppy. I didn't know no better.
Mm-hmm.
So initial doubts, no. Current doubts, plenty.
And I think that's fair because I think the better you get, the harder it gets. At least in my experience, there's people who are really out here playing and trying to mind your business and trying to just keep the same course. Like, like, this is what I'm doing and there's opportunities for everyone and we're gonna make it. I don't know how we're gonna make it, but we're gonna make it. I think it's just a good mindset to have. And on my good days, that's the mindset I have. It's like, you just gotta keep your head down and mind your business, because if you start looking at what everyone else is doing, what everyone else is accomplishing, it's like,
exactly. I think just because the better you get, the more nuanced things become, the more things that you're expected to grasp on like a smaller scale, and of course that's harder. So like at the time when I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna be a musician, so it makes me happy, I'm a bass player, like I didn't know nothing about what people were really out here doing.
Exactly.
All I knew was my little youth orchestra that we playing farandole arrangements. Like, that's all I knew. I had no idea what it took at the time, but we still here, we out here. So what about you?
I think the same thing. I agree with you. I didn't have initial doubts. Well, especially like being a music teacher, I was a little bit already involved in education because I was like a summer tutor for this program. So I knew I liked being in the classroom. And then, so that was fine. I already said the dental thing, but initial doubts, no, I was like, that's what I'm gonna do. So let's do it.
Right. Right.
So what did your parents say when you decided when you told them like you're gonna be a musician?
Oof. So
this is like the nitty gritty of our conversation.
Right. So I don't remember anything about I don't remember talking to my mom about it initially, just because that was so long ago, and I don't know. I'm not a person that does a lot of career changes. Like, I think I've had 3. Like, when I was very little, I used to want to grow up and be a giraffe. I never told you that?
I didn't.
Wow.
I did not expect that to come out of your mouth.
You did not know that? I feel like I told you that. Yeah, I used to be like, yeah, I'm going to be a giraffe when I grow up.
Bless your heart.
I know. I was dreaming real big. Meanwhile, that seems more realistic these days.
Focus, Dalanie.
Being a bass player.
You're not focused.
Yeah. And then after that, I went to be like a forensic archeologist. Meanwhile,
after all them episodes of
right,
Law and Order would do that too.
That cold case used to be my junk. Oh my god. But
I feel like 7th, 8th grade, when everyone was at home during the summer watching Law and Order, everybody wanted to be a forensic scientist, or a forensic archaeologist, or some.
That seemed cooler because it seems harder.
Like, everyone wanted to do that. Just give them time.
Right. And then I went to the coroner's office and passed out, but that was another thing.
Ooh, child.
Yeah, those were my only career changes. So I feel like I've wanted to do one thing for a very long time. So I don't remember being, just telling my mom that, because nothing has really changed except for a little bit like a tweak on my career path recently, but I don't remember telling her anything, but she was pretty much accepting to, like, from what I can remember up until a point. And then it got like real, put quite a strain on our relationship. So I'm not gonna put too much out there because I'm not gonna have my mom out here like that, because, you know, we had our ups and downs. Well, mostly we had like one big down, but ever since then she's been on my team, right, like to the fullest extent. And like before that, she was out here making sure, you know, she did everything she possibly could to, you know, get my music education in order and giving me like the best that she could afford, and, you know, went above and beyond anything that she had to do. But when I was auditioning for schools, I wanted to come to Eastman. It was my top choice school, and it ended up getting to a point where she didn't necessarily like believe that I really had the chance like to get in. And so that was a whole fight where she ended up telling me, I don't know what you're finna do about this audition, but I'm not going. And so, you know, me, I'm not really a pusher because I'm very lazy. So I'm not really like, if it were anywhere else, I probably would have been like I canceled my Bard audition. I never auditioned at Bard because I was like, well, my mom not taking me to my audition. What I'm gonna do, you know? But Eastman, something told me to keep pushing. I was like, I will never ever get over that if I don't try. So, and I didn't think I was gonna get any either. So, but I wasn't about to let that stop me. You know, I had already paid the application fee, already turned in my application. Yeah, I'm showing up to my audition. Right. So I came to New York by myself. Little reminder, I'm from Los Angeles, so I went across the country by myself. Luckily, my dad lives over here, well, near here, but, you know, I don't really, you know, me and him are very close. So, you know, I had to, you know, swallow my pride and call him to ask him for help. But I really wanted this. So that's one thing that my mom said, that, you know, after all this passed, she was like, that's how I knew you really wanted it. You called him like to help you out. Like, but yeah, I ended up coming to my audition day at Eastman by myself. And, you know, luckily one of my closest friends from my school was also auditioning on that day. So I had her and her parents were here. But yeah, I was here by myself, and you know, I auditioned and was just trying to be as positive as I could. I was very, very lucky that I had a friend here. I don't know if I was here like really, really completely alone. Right. Oh my God, I probably would have been deep in my feelings, very scared. But yeah, after coming to my audition by myself, after getting in, my mom was very happy for me, and we've had no problem since. But, you know, we were just really going through it at that time, and I guess she just had a lapse in her believing in me. But, you know, I showed her that I could do it. As for my dad, let me tell y'all what happened. I just have one little anecdote about how my dad reacted. So as y'all know, he lives near here, so I was over at his house close to the time of my audition, and I was like, yeah, I'm auditioning at Eastman. He's like, oh, so you like know how to read music and stuff? I was like, all right, so I'm just gonna go wash my plate off in the sink, and I'll see you in the morning. So that's where, bless his heart. Right, that's where we stand there. So there's not much reaction from him, just because, I mean, classical music is a very, like, you know, like, it's something you got to be into to know about. It's not just something that's like, not every common person knows how much money you can make if you win an orchestra job, all that. So, you know, I haven't talked to him very much about it, so I don't really know how he feels about it. It don't really matter at this point. I'm deep in it, and what he gonna do. Right. So yeah, but what about you? How did your folks react?
Well, here's the thing. First of all, Ina knows better. Ina's my mom. She knows better than to like to really give her input on what I'm finna do. This has been
wow.
And not
about your mother.
And not really, I mean that in like with the utmost respect. Not in a like
she know better.
Can I finish? Because so I can save myself from the dragon I'm about to get from her. Not in the fact that like I don't listen to her, because I respect her deeply because she's my mother. But I've always had this like, if I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. kind of attitude. So she doesn't really, she leads me and guides me in the way that a mother should, but she's never really been like, Katie, you gonna do this and blah blah blah. Never, because it's like, first of all, my mom and I are polar opposites, and I've always, she trusts me a lot, and I've never given her reason not to trust me, and she knows that I'm just very stubborn
and bossy, right?
I just said stubborn. And she knows I'm a go-getter. She knows I'm gonna do it, so she kind of just like lets me whatever. So, and I've been throwing also in the same breath, I was throwing a lot of careers around. So she was like, all right, Katie, whenever you decide, just let me know. Because I wanted to be a lawyer. I think I spent the longest amount of time wanting to be an OB-GYNO. And I think that was like all the way through high school. I was like, I want to deliver babies. I think I'll be really good at it. That was like, Dr. Huxtable was a gynecologist. So I was like, I want to do that. Like I could see myself doing that. And then I switched to the dentistry. And then, but I always had this underlying, like, I want to be an orchestra teacher. So when I applied music education everywhere, it didn't surprise her. And my mom, like I said on the Thanksgiving episode, my mom has always been like my hugest supporter. So it didn't really matter what I majored in. She was proud of me for going to college, even though I'm not the first one in my family to go to college. Also, the majority of her siblings went to college, so it was nothing brand new. But she was just proud of me. She was happy that she was doing. She's always said that you're the one who has to go to work in the morning. That's why when I switched over, when I called her that night, I'll never forget. When I called her that night, I was in Rhode Island, and I was like, I want to do music ed. She was like, yeah, go for it. You're the one who has to go to work in the morning. You're the one who has to get up. You're the one who has to like what you're doing. So my mom has always been fantastic in that. She doesn't miss recitals. She does the best she can to help me out, strings, whatever. Like, my mom is literally number one fan, like, flat out. She's always been that way. She's always gonna be that way.
On to the rest of the family.
My family? First of all, okay. So my family's from Jamaica, yeah. So I remember talking to my friend, I always felt a great deal of guilt. Initially, when I pursued music, started to really pursue music education, like when I went to my guidance counselor and dropped all my pre-dental courses, because it's like my family made such a big sacrifice to come here to this country, work their tails off, you know, taking buses in rain and snow and all this stuff and just struggling. I always felt so much guilt majoring in something that doesn't really have a lot of security, even though that's not really true, but we'll get to that later. And whatever, I could be a doctor, I could be Dr. Brown, I could be a dentist, I could do all these things.
You still be Dr. Brown.
I could be, but who has time for a DMA? But anyway, I always felt a great deal of guilt, even after coming to Eastman. And then I was on the phone with my good friend Ushane one night, and I was like, I always feel guilty for being a music major. He's like, and he said something to me that I hope he doesn't hear this, because he has the biggest head ever. I will literally never live it down. But he said something to me that literally turned my whole perspective around. He's like, them coming here, your family coming here from Jamaica wasn't just so you could become a doctor or whatever. Like, you having the opportunity to pursue music carries just as much weight, because if they never came here, you wouldn't be able to do that in Jamaica. So, and I was like, oh, sick. And then ever since then, it's been like, yeah, I'm a violist. Most days I'm good at what I do. So yeah, we're here. I get a lot of backlash from like one person specifically in my family, who I'm not gonna name because that's my business. But this like music, like, I thought you're gonna be a dentist, like, this is foolishness, blase. Oh. But because of who I am, it went in one ear, not the other. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you could say you have plenty to focus on. You know what I'm saying?
Well, when you get no CSO checks.
Anyway, CSO doesn't hire anybody, sis. But I digress.
That's because you haven't auditioned.
I digress. But and the thing that sucks about that is that ever since I got into Eastman, the song has changed. It's no longer foolishness. It's no longer anything. And I hate that junk. And in my experiences, Jamaicans are like that. It's like when you start doing bigger things, whatever. Now it's like, oh, minis, up. You know, I hate that junk, because you should have had the energy from the beginning when I was playing a French folk song. You know what I'm saying? So
Go Tell on Rody.
Right. You should have been like, up my knees when I was playing Go Tell on Rody. So it hasn't been it hasn't been an easy bout with like my family in general, but good thing I don't care. Number one. Number two, I took my mom's advice wholeheartedly. I'm the one who has to do this. When Sally Mae comes knocking at my door to request her ashy self to request her money back, I'm the one who has to pay, and I'd much rather pay loan money back to pursuing a dream and believing my teachers and believing in myself that I can make it than drudging through dental school and like maybe liking it and having to pay all that money back. I mean, I just think like I just don't care. Like, I'm the one who doing this. I'm the one who has to practice. I'm the one who has to be in it. So I'm not doing this for nobody else. Period. Let me put the next thing. I think we kind of touched on this already, but how have their opinions changed? Like I already said, like for me, like unfortunately, the school I go to has helped a lot. Them finally coming to a recital and be like, oh, so whatever. And also like now that they have someone in the family who's a musician, it's not just like it's like I feel like when there's no understanding, like what you said about classical music, it's like, what are you going to even do with that degree? You can be in an orchestra, you can be in chamber music, you can be a creative like that viola kid, and like Drew, he's a creative. He used music as an entry point, and now he's doing a bunch of stuff. You can be an arts admin, you can teach public school, you cannot teach public school. There's so many things you can do with classical music instead of just like you have to be on the world stage. And I feel like don't you know classical music is competitive? Everything is competitive, literally everything.
Yeah.
You know how many times I applied for McDonald's and didn't get a call back? Everything is competitive,
right? Everybody needs a job.
Like, you sound dumb. Don't talk about that's another thing. Like, don't talk about things you don't understand. Seek understanding. Don't be like you have this vague idea of like what something is. And I think that's the problem I have with like people I interact with, mainly Black people, when it comes to classical music. It's like, oh, like, so how does that work? And like, do y'all get paid for that? And all right, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, I understand there's a lack of understanding, but it's like, just like any career is multifaceted, so is classical music. And when you're in the classical music field, you figure out how to make it work, whether that's gigging, whether that's busking. Some people busk and they do really well, right? Busking, whether that's using it as a launching point. A lot of my friends used classical music as a launching point to explore other areas of their talent, other areas within music, but whatever. Like, there's so many things you can do as long as you want to do it. If you just go to music school, you do the bare minimum. You're like, well, I'm gonna be a soloist. No, you know what I'm saying? There's gonna be hard work, but that's hard work for anything. You have to work hard for anything. And when I was teaching public school, I got that job before I graduated. There's plenty of students who I went up against for that job. There's plenty of people who were graduating in December who also needed a job. And it's like, you gotta work hard at it. You gotta refine your craft. You have to interview well. It's competitive everywhere. So the limited understanding thing, it just blows my mind. To ask questions or be quiet. Why be ignorant when you could be quiet? Right. Your thoughts on, and you want to expand a little bit more on like what your mom said and how she's changed? Or
yeah, I mean, my mom has changed a lot too, just because like she's told me that I've given her, or like my career path has given her like a deeper understanding of music. Like, my mom has become, she's an adult learner.
That's so sick. That's so
right.
Cool.
She decided like because she used to play like the clarinet when she was like in middle school, and a lot of people who played instruments when they were kids always said that they wish they had kept it up. Right. But she decided she bought a flute to play, and the flute ended up collecting dust for a while, and then all of a sudden I was like, you know what, forget it, I'll play the flute. If ain't nobody gonna play it, so I printed out me a flute from you and tried to play the flute for a couple years, taught myself how to do it. And then she was like, okay, since you out here playing my flute, let me hurry play. So now my mom has been playing the flute for a couple years, and she was like, yeah, you inspired me to start this up. So like now she knee deep in it. She all for it now. So I guess that, that's all that matters, because it could have been way worse. It could, there's some people's parents out here just,
it could be so much worse.
Right. On my mom's side, it could be much worse on my dad's, but I'm gonna say there's some people's parents that just not even helping, but anyway.
I mean, but you have support. At least you have. I mean, I don't talk to my dad at all. You know what I'm saying? So, at least you have this, and it is easier with support. But I mean, if you want to do it, and that kind of goes into my next thing. Like, do you have any advice? A lot of people might be listening. They're considering going into classical music. I remember, whenever it was, I don't remember. Our Black Excellence was Andrew Francois, and I remember he came to Rochester for something, and I went to lunch with him, and I asked him, because this is when I started to consider, like, yo, low key, like, I know I'm late to the game, but I kind of want to do like opera, like I want to be in an orchestra. So I asked him just to see like what he would say. I was like, because clearly one is a little bit more stable, yeah. Between teaching public school and pursuing an orchestra career, and I was like, based on what you know about me, remember Andrew saw the come up. He didn't really see the come up, but he saw where I came from. Like, he was there when I was learning how to hold my viola, and I was like, between the two careers, like, what do you think, and what you know now, and how far you come in as a violist, would you recommend someone pursuing a career as a performing violist, orchestra, whatever? He's like, I think both careers are admirable, and I would tell anyone to go for it. And it's like, I think that's my biggest advice. Like, if you want to be in music, I think that you're already halfway there, because yes, you need the skills, you need the intonation, you need rhythm, you need a beautiful sound, but like, the tenacity is gonna take when people around you are winning jobs, when people around you are getting awards, when you blow excerpts in a mock audition, when you blow excerpts in a real audition. Like, taking L's on auditions are so much different than taking an L in studio class, but I digress. What's going to keep you going? You know what I'm saying? What's going to make you be like, I really want this? But if you want to be there, and you're willing to work, and you're willing to nuance, and you're willing to record yourself, and you're willing to ask people, can I play for you? And you're just so committed to getting better, then go for it. Because Mr. Taylor always says the world doesn't need another violist. And I remember he said it to me. I looked at him like, you good? It's the first day of school. And you accepting all these Boku violists? Like, are you okay? And I looked at him, he was like, he might as well be a good one. And it's like, I really take that to heart. Like, if you're going to do this and be a good one, you know, I think anyone, I'm not going to say that. I think if you want to be a musician, then be a musician. I think and don't let no one, that's easier for people in different situations, because don't matter what nobody say. And it's like, that's true. It doesn't matter what anyone says. But even though my family might have talked out their neck at the beginning, they were still putting me on flights. They were still dropping me off at school. They were still picking me up from school, helping me move into my dorm, buying books, helping me buy books, coming to recitals. Like, even though they were like, I don't know what I do, blah, blah, blah. You know, like, even though it was like that, it was still like they were there. So it wasn't like I was just out here, you know. But if you want to do music, I think you should do music. And it might be like, you're catching me on a good day. I'm out of my feelings. But I just think that's my biggest advice to anyone who's considered a career in music, is to go for it. What about you?
I'm not really in the position to be giving people a bunch of advice.
I mean, you are. You are in music school. You're at a top music school. You play well. You are in a position.
The former is true, but I don't know. I feel like my biggest advice, just looking back, I would say to seek like a diverse background in music. Like, if you're in one orchestra, try another ensemble with different people, different teachers, all that. Because one thing I wish I had earlier was a reality check.
Oh, that would have helped.
Right, because I was in I was in a El Sistema inspired program, so they're like, we giving instruments to y'all so that y'all not out here on the street, you know? Like, so people in here we're playing the same piece for how many years in a row? And a lot of people thinking like, like this is orchestra. This is nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
It is nothing like that. So I just, and that's one of the things that kind of rubs me the wrong way about going back, is that I see teachers, we have good teachers that went to these top music schools, and they see students in these programs that say, oh, I want to go into music, and they don't say anything to them about, like, this is not what it's actually like. Especially being here and going to Eastman and knowing the stark difference between this and where I came from. I really wish I had a reality check sooner, because I would have been, a little, it would have been a little less jarring when I see people are really out here. So I would just say, especially if you're you've been playing a long time in the same environment, just to seek out different things. If there's any way you can afford to go to a summer festival, I would do that.
Mm-hmm.
Look into that. Look into scholarships. Sometimes you just don't have the money, and that's more than understandable, because they be out here charging whatever. But if you can find people to play for, if your teacher can find somebody that could pop over to your lesson and hear you and all that stuff, or other people your age, see what they're doing. Like, you don't have to be looking at them and be like, oh, I don't sound as good as so and so, but you can always learn something. If you have thick skin, then go do something like that. But if you're, maybe if you don't want to be, because I personally don't really care about how other people my age play. Like, you compete against yourself, but you can still learn things from the way that other people play. So you should listen to other people play. Yeah. So it's not necessarily to compare yourself, but just to see what other people are doing. Sometimes if there's something that you have an issue with, look at the way someone else does it. Like, if I'm having an issue with the way that I hold my bass, which I'm still figuring out, because there's a lot of different stuff that goes into that. I look at, oh, this person plays German bow, let me see what they're doing. Exactly.
It's never about comparison. Even like, there's a school that I'm considering, and he was like, my teacher was like, you need to go start watching videos, because it's like the top school. He was like, you need to start watching videos and see what they're doing over there, because it's not about, because he was like, there's nothing in those videos that you cannot do. Mr. Taylor gasses me up low-key. He's like, there's nothing in those videos that you cannot do, but you need to see like how they are refining what you're doing. So I completely agree with that.
Yes. So that's my advice.
We would love to hear your stories. If you are in music, if you have any questions, ask us about how we are navigating this musical space. We'd love to hear your stories. Any advice you might have for others, let us know. Email us at classicallyblackpodcast@gmail.com, and we will read them. We want to hear from you. And we're moving on.
Right, to Black Excellence. So Black Excellence this week is my pick. And this week I picked an 18-year-old boy named Michael Fuller. Not to be confused with another Michael Fuller who kind of has a name for himself. He could be Black Excellent some other week, right? But because he is also Black and Excellent, but I don't want to confuse the two. So this Michael Fuller is 18 years old, and he is from somewhere in London or the UK. And he is a pianist and a singer. So he taught himself classical music, and he really wants to sing opera, and he composed his first piece at age 12. Okay, Mozart. Right. So he's just out here being Black and Excellent. He said that his music keeps him calm. He has autism, but he's doing all kind of stuff that is just absolutely amazing. He's majoring in music in college this year, and he has a dream to one day play at the Royal Albert Hall. So I'm gonna link the story I read about Michael in the description, and there's like a video, and you can hear him play and sing, and he is amazing, and he is out here, and I'm just trying to get like him. So
that's amazing. Incredible. Right. Yeah, it's a really inspiring story, so I encourage you to take a look.
Right. So you have a piece. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Do you have a piece this week? I'm sorry. I'm looking at the name of it. I'm like, I can't pronounce none of that.
Listen, because what's not gonna happen is I'm not gonna be dragged by the girls. But it's an aria, I believe, and it's called Pretty Miro. It's from Poppea. I'm not gonna say the first part.
What's the first part, sister?
Anyway, it's from Poppea, the opera by Monteverdi. I love this piece. It is so beautiful. And this is the part where music history starts to turn around for me, because like all the like ancient Greek like like we figuring out like polyphony, and like it's difficult for me. I'm not even gonna lie. But when we get to Monteverdi, I'm even talking about like past Jacquin. I'm talking about like Duprez. I'm talking about past him. When we get to Monteverdi, I'm like, good. Now we talking about something like I could hold on to something. I just love this piece. It's so beautiful. It's an aria. And I will encourage you to take a listen. It's my piece this week that I forgot about. I forgot how much I love that piece. And I love when it's on a listening exam because I sit up straight, lean forward, get my pencil ready to write. So yeah, check it out if you don't know the piece.
Right. I'll link a video to that in the description as well, so y'all can listen to whatever she's talking about this week. You know, I don't be on that aria jump.
But you have to listen. It's so I can't even.
I'll give it a good 3 seconds on my eardrums. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. We'll talk to y'all next week.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye.